What's happening, folks? Mitch Smith here. Welcome back to another episode of Thursday Night Theory and Ear Training for Guitar. As promised, tonight we're going to talk about the Harmonic Minor Scale and how that differs from the natural minor scale and how that coincides with your Nashville number system and how that works with the dominant chord of the key you're in. So let's just look at a natural minor scale in the key of A. A is just a good central point to do that. So your natural minor scale. And the key thing I want to point out is that the 7th scale degree is a whole step below the octave. So if I'm down at the root note of it, that note is also part of the scale. It's just part of the octave that would be lower. And we know we don't have enough strings or frets to go much lower, but right? Okay. So the difference between the natural minor scale and the harmonic minor scale is it takes that 7th degree and raises it 1/2 step. So it's going to be like this. Alright, so that has a lot more of a European sound, almost even Baroque or classical. Or that's what I usually tend to think when I hear it and the way I tend to use it. But okay, so let's just take a rock riff. I'll just make something up here and we'll just compare the two and see how it affects the sound. So let's do something in A. Okay, now let's change that into the harmonic minor scale. So or even that would be even better because that's diminished. So, and on that note, we talked about the diminished scale and how it resolves from a 1/2 step below the root. So it coincides very well with the harmonic minor scale because that note that would be the root note of your diminished scale that you would use in that key is that note. Okay, so what does that mean as far as our Nashville number system? Is the 7 chord then that note? It could be. So in that case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and instead of it being major, we would make it diminished and then resolve to the root. So let's go through our chords. We'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so that works. You can do that. Just leave the natural 7 out. Okay, but something else I really wanted to talk about was that note, if we had a dominant chord in this key, in the key of A, the dominant 5 chord is going to be A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's E. So if we're in the key of A minor, as we talked about last week, in the true modal theory, the 5 chord would be minor. It would be an E minor. So okay, so if we make that major and make it a true dominant chord, then look what happens. Let's look at the 5 chord we know is E, okay? So if it's E minor, it has E, B, E, and G. That third string open is G. That's what makes the chord minor, because it's the minor third of E. Okay? So let's look at the notes in the A natural minor scale. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That G is part of the natural minor scale. That's the 7th. That is a whole step below the octave. So if we turn that E into an E major, we make it a dominant chord. Now we have E, B, E, and G sharp to make it major. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. So when we hear a chord progression that uses the dominant, then we can recognize that there. That sounds like that's the harmonic minor, because we're using that dominant chord. So let's talk about some songs that that might use one or the other. Let me go to a clean channel. You tell me, is this one in natural minor or harmonic minor? This is a Metallica riff. Well, that's going to be your natural minor, and I'll tell you why. We're in the key of A minor. Goes to the 3 chord, which is the relative major. Goes to the G, which is that would be the 7th of the natural minor. And it goes to that E right there. That's the 5 chord. And when they go to that 5 chord and they make it a E minor, that solidifies the fact that we are in natural minor. That plus the G chord as well. Okay, here's another one. This is we're going to go back a little further to the Rolling Stones. Let's see if I remember this. That note right there. Now what I'm doing, I'm starting on E right here, and I'm playing the the minor scale in linear form. And so when I come down to this note, which is the 7th, I'm only going a half step. That's making it the harmonic minor. Now I'll go ahead and say, I'll take it a step further. This one also uses this note, which makes it a melodic minor, but we're not getting into that tonight. And I'm just droning on the open E right there as well, just to give it that extra sitar-y kind of sound. And they land right there. So, and even in the verse, he's got, I see a red door and I want to paint it black. I'm going to a B7 right there. That's my 5 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm playing, is it a B7 or a B major? And again, let's see if that holds true in the key of E. So B, and there's the 3rd. That note is a D sharp. So that's harmonic minor. Okay, all right. So those are two uses that are in the different minor scales. So let's make up a couple more, and you tell me what you think. In fact, I'm just going to do some some lead licks and use them in different scales. And you tell me, is it harmonic minor or melodic minor? Or, I'm sorry, is it harmonic minor or natural minor? Just listen to this. I'm just going to jam a little bit. You tell me what you think. What do you think about that one? Sounds an awful lot like rock, like almost pentatonic. It's got a little more flavor than pentatonic, but it doesn't have that that European sound. So that is the natural minor. And what I did was I was going down to that D, even on my riff. Let's try a similar one, but I'm going to change all those to the major 7, turn it into a harmonic minor. Now I don't remember exactly what I did, but I'll do something similar. So that was a similar thing, but in harmonic minor. Here's a cool tune from the 80s, I think. You recognize that? That's Foreigner. And check out what they're doing. They're in E. Well, I don't know if they're in E. They're probably in like E flat or something, but going right to that major 7. Now one thing, they're taking it a step further and just going to the flat 5. Landing on the 6. Okay. Alright, so those are some uses for that. Let's try some in a different key. Let me give you another lick here, and you tell me harmonic minor or natural minor. Okay? Now let's try a different key. We'll do this one in B. Alright, so I landed right there on that note. Everything up to that point makes it kind of natural minor. But then when you land on